How's everybody doing today? It's so quiet here. What is the?
It is.
It's like, is something not on or something?
It's like a Monday morning.
It feels
yes.
weird. It's just a weird kind of different acoustic or something this morning. Yeah. There must be something not on, some fan or something. I don't know. Welcome to 1 Million Cups, Hopkins County. It's so nice to have you today. We have two excellent presenters today. The first one is going to be Sally Taylor from Taylor's Travelers. Did I get that right? Woohoo! And she's going to tell us about all kinds of exciting places we can go and fun things we can do. So take it away, Sally.
Well, now you know why it's dull in here so far. Oh, but anyway, I am Sally Taylor, or you may know me as Sally Taylor Bowie. Dan Bowie is my husband, but when we got married, I had too many subscriptions to magazines to change my name and all that stuff in, so I
didn't have any subscriptions, so I didn't have to change my name.
So I go by both, Taylor and Bowie. But when I started this business, they said, well, what are you called? Just long distance, thinking, oh, I'm not calling them. So that's what popped into my head. I was employed by the Hopkins County school system, and that's what I was at several schools in the system over the years. For 3 years, I was an itinerant, which means you have 2 to 3 schools a week, and you go to 2 or 3 schools a week. And then in 2000, I I graduated from Hopkins County Central High School. And once I graduated, I thought, well, maybe I should go out and get me a real job now that I'm graduated. So this was my real job. No. It didn't start quite at 2000, but I used to get newsletters from the Kentucky Retired Teachers Association 4 times a year. And one, I think it was in the winter time before Christmas, I got this brochure and our little newspaper, and the Louisville Retired Teachers Association were advertising a trip to Cape Cod for $600. And during college, I worked 2 different summers on Cape Cod, and I knew that was a wonderful price because a lot of your resorts are a little cost more than your normal places. So I called them up, talked to the ladies, and they sent me their brochure, and I was checking it out, and then I thought, okay, they leave really early one morning from Louisville, so I'd have to drive up the night before and spend the night. Then coming back, they'd get back in late, so I'd have to spend the night then. I didn't want to drive back after being on a bus all day. So I kept looking at the brochure, and I saw this company's name, which I proceeded to call, and it was Diamond Tours in Fort Lauderdale. They used to be, well, they were in New Jersey, and then they moved to Florida. And Diamond Tours is a big company that does a lot of inexpensive trips all over this part of the United States. And yet they said, oh, sure, you can do it. Only thing you have to have is 30 people. And that's about the extent of my training that Diamond Tours gave me. They did not, it was a learn-as-you-go process. But I did use them. It was, like I said, I didn't know what I was doing. I had only ever done one other trip, and that was to Europe. As far as getting people and being, that wasn't to that extent. But I was able to get my 30 people. I was in a lot of clubs, so every club I'd pass these things out, and everybody I knew I'd pass them out and have them give them to family members. And I did everything but put them under the windshield at Kroger's. I was passing out. And then after doing it a couple of years, I kept saying, well, I want to do this also. I want to do that also. So I kept trying to add to their trips because I didn't think they had too much what I call downtime, which meant you were sitting in the hotel room too long. I wanted to be out doing things. So at first they'd let me add some things. I went to New York City, I had a full day. We did a Broadway play that they didn't offer. We went to the Statue of Liberty, which they didn't offer, such things like that. And then finally, one of the people, all of this was done over the phone, he said, "You don't need to be doing this. You're trying to be a travel agent." And that was the seed in my little head that started growing. I thought, So in 2009, I did my first trip on my own. And that meant I had to get all the hotels, pick the meal, the places we would eat ahead of time, charter a bus, get the driver, and all of that. And we went to the Grand Canyon. And then in 2010, I went to, did the trips to San Antonio and New England. I try to do 2 trips a year, and I haven't completely quit using Diamond. When we go, 3 years ago, we went up to Canada, and I don't speak French, and so I didn't want to try that. So I did use them for them. And it's a good company, it's just I'm better. I do better hotels and better restaurants and a lot more in my day. I do need 20 people to make, okay, just a little. I need 20 people for each trip. That helps the expense. The biggest expense which I have is for my buses. The buses will hold 55, and I always cut off at 45. So 2 of my trips this year have already, I have my 20 people. That was my 6 minutes, so now you can ask questions.
Okay. Questions?
Is there anything you wanted to say that you didn't get to say in your 6 minutes? I'm good at the question game.
Perfect.
Well, maybe if you don't ask the right questions.
There you go.
I think you should ask the right questions, but I'll stick it in anyway.
What are some of the challenges that you've had, Sally, in getting your business going?
My problems. I am very poor at using a computer, and I'm trying to learn how to do Facebook with pictures and stuff like that. But if I have good computer skills, but in my job as a guidance counselor, all I did was scheduling on the computer, and somebody else always set it up. I am very lacking in, and I've taken classes for senior citizens at the community college, but it doesn't help. The second thing is the people that I have drawn from that have gone on my trips. See, I've been doing this 11 years. I started with a big pool, and it keeps getting smaller because I'm no longer interacting in job situations where I'm meeting new people. But the people that have been going are now 11 years older, and some of them are out of the age bracket to be traveling. A lot of them have had cancer, open heart surgery, arthritis, all these old age illnesses that keep them. And they die on me. So I have to keep replacing my pool, and that's harder for me, and that's what I'm trying to get my computer skills up for, because I don't charge enough to pay a lot for advertising. I do have a regular loyal base that will go on just about every trip, but I go on to some places repeatedly, and they don't want to keep going repeatedly. Except for New York City, where they can get knockout purses. They'll keep going back. Let's see. So when I try new locations and I find new places and I think they're great, 2 years ago in Galena, Illinois, lovely town. They were having this wonderful festival. I couldn't sell it because I'm finally enough for a band, but people never heard of it. They wouldn't take my word for it. That was a wonderful place. So either they go to the places they've heard, other than Florida and Gatlinburg, and we keep going to the same places, or they start taking my word for we're going. So, and then one way I got around that was a mystery trip. And I might have to go back to that. They don't know where they're going. And I didn't think they'd sign up for it. But I did have enough for a bus on my mystery trip. We went to Fontenay in Tennessee, Barbara Mandrell's former home. We went and spent the night on the Delta Queen in Chattanooga, which is the boat, and it can't go out anymore. Well, maybe it can, but then it could. And then we spent a night on a railroad car at Chattanooga Choo Choo Park. And I did have enough for that. The other thing is that prices keep going. My biggest selling point is I'm less expensive than everybody else. But even I'm having to go up because the hotels keep going up and the meals. The first time we paid $25 for everybody's dinner. Now that's the going rate. So those are my favorite issues. Questions?
Do you have like a holy grail or a bucket list? Is there somewhere you want to go, take a tour to that you haven't gotten to? That...
Yes, but I can't do a bus trip. They have these little canal boats in England that I wanted to go down.
So have you ever done international, or are you only?
I have, but not with a
You're
group.
going to take me through?
I don't think I could sell it. The ones that use here, they use big companies like Colette, or they've been in the business much longer and they have a bigger base. The price goes up. You could get enough for a small group, and if I kept doing it, but I just am going to keep trying on my my level, which I'm not trying to get real big or make a living doing this.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't want to go on a hole.
Are there, I'm sorry, I didn't raise my hand for my next question. Are there people who request tours that are, that keep coming up that you want to do, or do you add something?
They keep wanting to go to Hawaii and Alaska. And I say, well, we get up on the Rockies with that bus and we go down real fast and scoot over. But a bus trip for Hawaii just doesn't seem like great. And for Alaska, it's a cruise.
Okay, yeah.
And I may do cruises if I stay in this for another 5 years. I could do cruises, but here again, I think I'd have trouble selling 20, and you have to rent your bus to get them to wherever the cruise is going to be. And buses are expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Had you ever thought of train trips to Alaska?
Yes. Well, not to Alaska, but in Alaska. One of the things I didn't bring up, I didn't have training in any of this, but I have joined 2 associations. One is Travel South, which does the southern states, and they have a convention every year. It's smaller. The American Bus Association, I've gone to 2 of their conventions, 3,000 people, sellers, or buyers. I'm a buyer. And you sit there and you meet people every 7 minutes that are trying to sell you their hotel, their site, their museum, whatever, for 3 days. And I've been, Travel South, we went to, the first year was in Louisville, and then it was in Little Rock. Dan went with me, and then this year I went to northern Louisiana, which I've been to New Orleans about 5 times, but I've never been up to the northern part. I love it. It'd be a good bus trip. It's going to be hard to sell. American Bus Association, year before last was in Nashville. That was wonderful. And this year was in St. Louis, which was good, but they do theirs in January. It was sub-zero. So that wasn't real great, but this year it's going to be in Louisville. Great for our state. Well, they have what they call pre- and post-FAMs. FAM stands for, I won't be able to say it right, familiarization trips, which they put the tour guides on a little bus, just like we do, and they take us all these places that they want us to see in that area. So I've been on 2 in Louisiana, and then part of it was in Mississippi, and then we did Nashville, areas around Nashville, several places I hadn't been to that were great. Here again, people see it here, it's Western Tennessee, and they oh, I've been to that one. And maybe one thing out of the whole trip they've been to, but they don't want to sign up. I tried Kentucky last year. I had a really good trip for Kentucky places. But if they've been to half of it, which, you know, it's their money and they've been to that place, so they don't want to go again, because they want to go somewhere they haven't been. But Kentucky has lots of great places to visit, but it's hard for, when you live in Kentucky, to sell Kentucky. But anyway, that's those things I'm learning how to, on that. Questions?
Sure. Don't know how to ask this, but do you find, are you competitive with your trip, for instance, on price?
Mm-hmm.
That, let's say that you're planning this trip to New York, and is there enough of a discount for groups for you to make a profit and still be competitive for somebody like me that says, oh, I don't want to go with a group, I want to plan my own, and I can get in there and yes, one night in a hotel, one night, you know, one night at a time. Yeah, I'll be paying a little more, but I work at my own schedule and work at, you know, so is there enough room in there with this price difference for you to be able to operate profitably like that? There must be. I just...
Well, some of my trips I don't make a profit on if I don't get enough signed up. The last couple of years I've had problems either where I chose or the economy, and I think it's a little bit of
well, that was, I guess, my first observation when I think of a travel agent. You know, if you book an airline flight someplace, well, you know, you can call United or book online, and here's your price.
Right.
Now,
the same thing with hotels. I can get a little bit of a, especially if I have 40 people, I can get a better rate.
Yeah.
With 20 people, I don't get much of a better rate. But I'm staying in better hotels than what this Diamond Tours did. We stayed in hotels like Holiday Inn Express, Hampton, places that serve a good breakfast.
Yeah.
And fairly new hotels, unless we can't get them. For Mackinac, I'd love to stay at the Grand Hotel, but that's about $400 a night. But we're going to stay on the island this time. Most anybody could go on their own for cheaper if they go to Hotel 6s and 8s and like that type place, and don't eat in where we're eating. But basically, if they drive with gas, what it used to, well, even if it doesn't go down this summer, and are staying at comparable, they can't do it for cheaper because of, but they might not go to all the different places that we go to. Now, compared to other companies, I'm a whole lot less expensive. I don't like to say cheaper, but my Grand Western tour, which I did 3 years ago. How much time do I have? Okay, I've got time. Okay, it was an 11-day trip that included the bus driver's tip, step-on guides, their tips. A lot of people don't include the tips, they just send an envelope around. 10 nights in a hotel. 2 of those nights were in Yellowstone National Park, which is hard to do. Admission into anything that we went to. 7 breakfasts and 6 lunches or suppers, and tour insurance. I don't offer that anymore because of the prices, but that's about 10% of your, it's optional, but I included it. We went to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, Grand Tetons, Yellowstone, stayed in the park for 2 nights, were there for 3 days. Most every trip I've looked at to Yellowstone, they go 1 day to Yellowstone, which is, that's criminal. There's just been 1 day in Yellowstone.
It's like 1 day in New York.
Yeah, yeah. Cheyenne, Wyoming, Buffalo Bills Historic Center, Mount Rushmore, Crazy Horse Memorial, the Badlands, and one of the locations where Lauren Wilders grew up. Okay, 11 days. AAA the same year offered one where they flew them out and then they were there for 8 days. Well, for the saving on your hotels, that makes it pretty much comparable, but I have people that don't want to fly. And you see a lot in the driving, plus you get to visit with your other people. But mine was $1,375, theirs was $3,100. 15 days to Yellowstone, another company, a national company. 1 day in Yellowstone, 14 meals was $24.79, and a Colette, which some of the people around, I think the banks sometimes when they have a big trip, they use Colette. You can buy into Colette's companies. It's kind of like a diamond, but diamond tours are on the bottom and Colette's up here. In 2011, they had a 12-day, 1 day in Yellowstone, 17 meals with air for $3,400. So that's comparable to my trips, and they're over double. And most of them are double of what I charge them plus some. And they may or may not be staying in nicer. Now, when you go to New York City, you can add $500 or $700 if you stay in the city versus in New Jersey, which is a 20 to 30-minute drive every day. And things, luggage carry. That if you want to carry, have the hotel take their bags up and have them sitting out and take them down the next morning. I've tried that. My people don't wait for them. They grab their bag and they're off. And that's $5 a day. So on a big trip, that's $50 you can cut out. And then if somebody can't do their bags, if they'll wait for Dan and I, we'll do it with one of those roller things. But it's hard to get them to wait for you. They love it's their hotel room. I wear them out. Other questions? I've got a few more.
What would you say is like the best thing that you ever did? What's the smartest decision that you made for your business?
I'm still looking for that. If I would take, somebody was telling me about this class that MCC has on 105 or something computers. I need to really get better at the computer so I can advertise, use that for advertising.
She needs to get better at doing some computer things. That's one of our,
Yes.
Had you ever thought about collecting emails from people and emailing them every time, you know, you're going to have a trip?
Yeah, I mailed these out to over 300 people. And,
How do you sign up?
well, it's the bottom sheet on there. I put stacks of these in beauty shops, any, my CPA, not my CPA, but, what's the, no, investment, where, Shelby Tires, they have a waiting room. I've gotten 5 trips by sticking these at his place. The fact that it's his wife, daughter, and mother-in-law, very silly, but they wouldn't have known because he wouldn't have told them about it. Putting those in the lobby of his, or waiting room, I put them in that. But yes, I don't send them out to the same people that I mail them to, but I send out reminders. And I'm trying to learn to put pictures on Facebook, and I've got to get more people using me for Facebook. But, and we've run actually these brochures on Facebook, but it's not a good copy. But if they would just, people can call me and I mail it to them, and they really need a paper copy as far as for the sending it back to me with their $75 deposit.
You don't have a website then?
I've looked into it, but no.
well, that could be one thing that you could say that you've done. You've kept it comfortable for you. I mean, everybody's kind of trying to come up with these ideas for you that are going to like catapult you into, yeah.
If I was doing this full time, it was my
Yeah.
only job, but we have real estate that I'm always working on, and other things. I like to
So that's
travel.
what you said, you liked it, you know.
It's a retirement
it's a-
job.
Yeah, and so
Career.
you've kept it small and manageable where, because if you get, you know, way out on the internet, you will get really
Yeah.
busy.
Our
and-
population is just not big enough. The people that are, it's not completely senior adults, but I try to go off-season because it's cheaper and there aren't 300 fifth graders on a field trip going to the same place we're going.
Right.
And so then you can't get your people that have children, but working people, not too many of them, as many will take this type of job because they're going to jump in their car and put the kids in the back and go. But I don't know. I'd like to do maybe 3 trips or 2 full trips a year. But I've had people from San Francisco, Des Moines, Iowa, far away that have gone on my trips. They fly to Madisonville, get on the bus, and away we go. But it's a trip itself. Well,
There you go.
they had mothers,
There we go.
or they were the mother. The one from Des Moines was the mother. The one from San Francisco was going with her mother.
Do you have advice for someone who might want to start this kind of business?
Take the classes.
And the classes being the computer classes and stuff,
No,
or the
travel.
classes? Okay. Because I do know somebody asked me the other day about, you know, I'd like to just take people on trips and travel with them
It's work.
because they retired and
Getting
they just want
this
to do something
together
that they
is a
enjoy.
lot of work, lots of hours. I spend days trying to get the best hotel with good reviews and then getting them to come down on their price.
Any more
Yes.
questions? Just a couple more, you guys.
Is your business profitable, or do you find that it pays for you to be able to go on great trips when you bring a bunch of friends with you?
Both. Now, the last 2 years where we didn't have enough for a bus, we took a van, and one of the vans was like $500 because it was a Mercedes, really nice. I think I broke even. And then even doing a van, or the bus, but I wasn't paying a bus driver. But if I get 20, I will pay for my way and Dan's way, and depending on whatever else, I might make a little bit. But I'm spending a lot going to these conventions.
Right.
So for the year, for the trip, I'm making money. For the year,
Not so much.
yeah, not so much.
Yeah.
But I enjoy those conventions. I like seeing 8-minute. One of them, I sit still and they come to me, and the other one, I have to go from here to there in 8 minutes and hear the presentation. It's a challenge, but it's new enough, I still enjoy it.
Good.
Now, when I'm in another 5 years, I may get on that cruise boat and say goodbye, Taylor Travelers. Oh, I'm not Taylor Travel, I'm Taylor Travelers. There are 3 other companies in the United States that I know of called Taylor Travel.
Anything else? Any burning question you have to have before? If not, you'll be around and
Yes.
you can talk afterwards. You
Yes.
have reforms. There is a sign-up sheet on the back if you want to go on these fabulous tours